Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do my monthly reading wrap up for May 2023. May was a good reading month. I read 5 books in total across 2 genres, comprising many authors. And yes, many authors is because of the fact that I read several short story collections with so many authors that I literally don't even know how many it is. And without any further delay, I'll talk about the first set of books, which are not short story collections. And they are a trilogy, and that is our reread of the War Trilogy, written by K.B. Wages. This trilogy comprises of Behind the Throne, After the Crown, and finally Beyond the Empire, in fact. And this is a reread for me because I have the follow-up trilogy by K.B. Wages on my shelf over there, ready and waiting to be read, which follows the same main character in the same universe as this trilogy. And I thought, well, it's best to reread this one so I remember exactly. I mean, I remembered it pretty much anyway, what's going on, and then I can read that trilogy for the first time, which I'm quite eager to do. And this is a fun science fiction trilogy, frankly. The premise of it is that there is a this big empire. I mean, this is like, sort of kingdoms on different planets, science fiction, sort of warring kingdoms idea. And the one kingdom, it gets several of its royal family and its ruling class killed by some sort of terrorist attack or enemy attack. You're not really sure what happened, and it then gets 2 trackers to find the princess of the kingdom, essentially, Hale Bristol, to go and find her and bring her back to the Empire. And because the Empire needs her as the heir apparent. However, she has been gone from the Empire for many years now, for more than a decade, and she's become a very good and very successful gun runner. Selling guns to whoever will buy them. And obviously being a gun runner doesn't entirely mesh with the Empire's idea of the prim and proper princess and the next heir to the throne. So this doesn't exactly work out. However, it does work out because obviously the Empire is being attacked from both within and without by different forces. So obviously being a gun runner and being in that lifestyle where you sort of you can deal with anything, and indeed you certainly have enough weaponry, comes in handy, in fact. So the character of Hale Bristol is an interesting one. I mean, she'll swear, she'll drink, and she doesn't really care too much what other people think, but she does know a place within the Empire, and she does respect the people, so she does try to tone herself down when she's back. And it's interesting to see her being a gun runner, but she's aware of what she is, so she doesn't want to insult everybody that she's known when she was younger. That's not what she's about. So it's an interesting mix, and all the other characters work really well. It's fun, fast paced, and some brilliant action set pieces in it, and it's just a really good, solid science fiction trilogy, which I would highly recommend. It's just well written and enjoyable, and the characters are frankly really good overall. And the second thing that I read, or fourth technically, depending on how you look at it, is Wings of Renewal, edited by Claudie Aresenault and Brenda J. Pierson. This is a short story collection. This is a solar punk dragon anthology by various different authors. The two of the authors are actually indeed the editors. And this is an interesting collection because whilst it may be solar punk, as is often the way with solar punk, it is often considered almost an extension of the hoop punk very niche subgenre as well, and this does go with that concept, because whilst it is the idea of each story is based around the idea of a dragon in a alternative way, mostly helping society, helping humanity and doing good. It is also very optimistic and very hopeful for the future, and its idea is, well, yes, humanity is generally very good at shooting itself in the foot and basically destroying itself, but we can, if we really push, help ourselves and actually improve things for ourselves and indeed for the future. We're not entirely self-destructive all the time. We can be, but there is hope, and with this is a focus on, yeah, there is hope via dragons. So it's an interesting collection. The stories are fun, well written. There are no real duds in this at all. I mean, there's some that were like, that was interesting but not exceptionally special, which is actually unusual. Normally, in almost all short story collections, there's a few that are like, whatever, they're really not interesting. There are a few okay stories, but they still have their moments. So this is certainly above the curve in terms of, you know, the quality of every single short story. It really is. And overall, I was really impressed by this, and I would highly rate this. I mean, I had this on my wish list for quite a number of years. I can't even remember why I picked it up now. Somebody made me aware of it quite a few years ago. If you're the one that made me aware of it, then please say something, and I'll say thanks. And I'm really glad that I finally got around to reading this. And finally, the last book that I read in May was Defying Doomsday, edited by Tsana, Dolicha and Holly Kench. This is actually the first of two short story collections with this sort of premise, I believe. And I read this due to a friend of mine, Rachel, down here on BookTube, obviously I'll link her channel, being very enthusiastic about this and frankly really enjoying it. And I picked it up and I really enjoyed it as well. Now, it doesn't look like a particularly fat book in terms of actual physical width, yet this is weirdly heavy, and actually this is actually quite a long book. It is 400 pages, which considering the thickness is surprising. Obviously they've used heavier paper and done a, you know, something a bit interesting with the actual design of the book. I don't normally talk about the designs of books and such, but this is an interesting one because this is unusually heavy considering the size. Anyway, now on to the actual content of the book, not just what it's made of. This is a short story collection with multiple authors. Each short story is, as you might guess from the title, Defying Doomsday. It is sort of post-apocalyptic stories where the world has ended in various ways. Some of them are because of our own stupidity or our own greed, which frankly is to be expected with humanity. Some of them are external forces, you know, sort of the idea of a meteor, you know, Armageddon style crash landing and doing untold damage on the earth, making it difficult to live, is indeed one of them. And it's got a bit interesting focus, however, because all of the main characters of each of the short stories have some kind of special need, or in other words, they have some kind of disability in some way. And this is interesting because obviously in the normal case of things, people with a disability are discriminated against and not given the chances that somebody without any issues has. I mean, this goes on every single day that we are alive. And yet, in this, because of the various individual needs and concerns of each main character, they actually realise that they're suited for, in some rather interesting ways, to that environment because of their unique position. They can serve better than anybody that's actually, that doesn't have any health problems or any other conditions that need treatment. They can just deal with it, and whilst they might still need a certain amount of unusual help, they can deal with it in a rather more powerful way and a more effective way than anybody else. So this is not being negative about disabilities. It's saying that yes, you have a disability, but under the right conditions you can definitely thrive. You can become more than you are. And basically it's not looking down, it's looking up at people with needs and disabilities, and it's quite inspiring actually. It makes you think actually there are people that you might think basically might die off quickly, I mean, to be blunt. But actually, if you think about it a bit deeper, you think actually they might well be more suited than almost anybody else because of whatever it happens to be. I mean, there's a character that is deaf, and they do rather well for very particular reasons as well. And I mean, that's just a obvious physical one. And there are some other rather more subtle characters with issues, and they do really well as well. And overall, I really was impressed by this, and I am looking forward to reading the second short story collection, which I actually have over the other side of this room. So it will be fun and very interesting when I get around to reading that one. And with that said, that is actually it for all of the books that I read in May. So if you have read any of these or what you would like to, then please leave a comment and we can have a talk about them. If you have any questions about these books or want to know more information, then I will answer to the best of my knowledge. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.